welcome to the final round of this evening's regional fishing reports, where we're going to go to Georgia with Captain Massa from Coastal Creek Charters. Before we do, just a few quick reminders. We still have our plenty of TFC shirts. We have the Rock the Bay shirt that Grant has been wearing throughout this evening. And we also have the Red Zone shirts still available at thefishingchannel.net. So please check that out and purchase yours today. We also have the TFC Plus still going on. We have plenty of content on tackle tips, boating tips, fishing tips of all varieties and kind from our great correspondents who have joined us on this journey. So please join, and you go to YouTube, our YouTube page at the Fishing Channel, and you hit the join button. And $5 a month, you can get all the exclusive content from some of your favorites, including Eddie Weber. We have C.L. Marshall, we have Tom Weaver, and the list goes on. So join today. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. We're going to get into the 2-minute bite with Captain Massa. How are you doing, Captain Massa?
Another great day in McIntosh County.
You know, you say that every time, and I want to move to Georgia.
You wouldn't be disappointed.
Yes, for sure. How you doing, Rodney? Thanks for tuning in again with us. So we're going to go in our 2-minute bite, where you give us a quick rundown of what's going on in Georgia.
Man, I tell you what, I've been able to say almost every show that the redfish bite right in coastal Georgia here has been off the chain. It's been a real dream season for me. I just can't even believe how good it is. It started off in early October, November. The fish were small, but there was so many, we knew that it was going to be something special. Now that we're rolling into January, all those small fish have put some size on, and some of those bigger ones that are coming offshore are in. The last 3 or 4 trips, I've gone out and I've caught over slot redfish every time, over 23 inches. Mm-hmm. So the redfish bite is absolutely fire right now. You can't even imagine it. I can't. And then right now is the time when those sheephead are coming in. Those deep water sheephead are coming in shallow, and they're beefed up and strong. Typically, you know, you're doing your sheephead fishing on the pilings, and you're right up against a dock, and you're dropping straight down, but not so much now. You find a deep hole with some structure in the bottom of it, and they'll be piled in there, and they'll be big. I had I would say an epic day just a week ago, where we had 7 or 8 in the boat, 4 or 5 pound sheephead, and it was just one right after another, just crushing it. So if you're looking for a big sheephead, now is the time. And then I follow all my friends that are captains, and the trout bite is good. For me, I have to, you know, I'm always honest as I can be. I'm catching a lot of trout, but a lot of singles for me. Single, you know, you'll work a whole stretch of the bank and catch one here, one there, another one. I haven't really gotten into the big schools, but they're there. People are doing it. It's one of those luck of the draw things if you get into them big time. But plenty of trout, redfish, and again, the sheephead. If you've not had the pleasure of a fight of a 5 pound sheephead or bigger, you just don't know what's going on. So
you're not living life yet.
For me.
Right on. So tonight, as always, we have a question of the evening. And tonight, one of our sponsors, Old School Tackle Company, has graciously given us the prize. We have a 1/2 ounce jig head. I love the color on this. I'd like to talk about, you know, what you think about this at some point this evening and how it can fare well even in your area. And then we have 4-inch hammer, paddle tail. I love paddle tail. I love this color. So question of the evening wins this great prize from our local sponsor, Old School Tackle Company. Thank you so much for providing this to us so we can give it out a prize this evening. So as questions roll in, we'll get to it, but really quick, you mentioned, you know, the slot fish, and I watch your Facebook, and I definitely recommend everybody do, because Captain Massa, when he does his videos, it's always educational. It's always fun and entertaining. And I love sometimes when you do your videos that something off the cuff happens. You're sitting there talking about a tackle tip, and then all of a sudden you're on a big red. So definitely tune in to Facebook. Do you also have an Instagram?
Instagram and dabbling in the TikTok. So not very good at it, but I do. But my main forum is Facebook, and just trying to get the word out there about our coastal community here. Not just the fishing, but in general, coastal Georgia is a destination hotspot.
Right on. It's on my list. Before I get to my questions and we get a little bit deeper into the fishing report, I want to keep our word to our audience. So we're going to go with what's going on with the questions in the chat. So let's see here. So Rodney Green, what time of the year does the sheephead spawn? Spring?
Well, like I said, I think it's happening right now. They're coming in, and I believe it's for the spawn. I haven't done a lot of research on the exact schedule of them, but I have done the research of when I catch the biggest ones, and right now is it. They'll come in for a while, and I believe they're spawning and get into those deep holes, obviously still around the structure on some fallen trees and around docks, but it's just not so often in the summertime that you'll catch as many of them that are just not really tight on structure that is vertical. So just big holes, and in these creeks are holding the big fish. So right now for big fish has been the best for me. Sheephead are year round. They're here, but I never seem to catch the quantity and the size as I have this year.
Yeah, but Captain Massa always gets on fish, at least from what I see, what's going on, whether it's trout, whether it's reds, whether it's flounder, whether it's sheep's head. So definitely book your charter today with Captain Massa. Another question from Rodney. Do you feel that the slot length is helping with the quality of fish caught? That's a good question, Rodney.
That's a great question. You know, I really do believe in conservation, and Georgia's very liberal. Right now, you can keep 5 redfish, and if you're any other places, you'll know that, wow, that's pretty impressive. It's not like that a lot of places. I know Florida, very strict, and so I believe that the slot limit obviously helps. I think those breeding fish are much bigger. And we are dabbling with a change in the rules that I think will be really beneficial in the future. We're going down to 3 per person, and on a charter, the captain's fish don't count. Normally, if I have 2 people, we can keep 15 redfish. It won't be like that anymore. So anytime you can keep more fish in the water that are able to get to that breeding size, I think it really has a dramatic impact. Same way with the trout. We have such a liberal limit, 15 trout per person at 14 inches. You can load up on that. I believe that's one of the reasons our area doesn't have the very big trout. You know, I've said in the past that a 22, 23 inch trout for us is, to me, you've really hit a home run. But just short distance down in Brunswick, and you go up towards Savannah, and the fish are bigger. I don't know why, but I think it just has to have some impact of how much is caught around here. You know how when the trout get going and you get in a hole, you can definitely load up 15 per person at the right time. And man, that just seems like a lot. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but some regulations there I think would help also. So again, yes, the slot limit is a must, and I think Georgia's doing a good thing by decreasing the amount. And for a charter, people don't want to hear this, I like to say we limit it out.
That is true. So Grant in the studio audience has a question. Is the water quality better where the trout are bigger in Georgia?
Yeah, I think that water quality is key. You know, we have so much tidal movement that it's day by day here. So you can't really say what this area is better than the other, because you can go to a great area south or north of us, and that tidal movement washes out, it's going to be mud. So you just have to find clean water. So I think that does impact it. But I'm not sure that that's impacting the reason I'm not catching the big giant trout like I want to be. Maybe I still have some work to do and some learning to do, but in general, I talk to a lot of people and I know what's being caught, and 22, 23 is a big trout. Water clarity definitely is an impact, but it's just finding clean water here. That tidal moving of 8 feet, you get a flood tide, it's going to pull mud out.
For sure. We have another question coming in from Robert Lombardi, a great kayak fisherman, and he also has his own YouTube, which I enjoy. What is your go-to plastic and technique for redfish?
All right. Well,
Or cupped popping cork.
All right. Well, it just so happens that here on the table, what I've done is I got the opportunity to go to a store and I said, you know what? I'm going to just go and I'm going to buy everything that I would take on a trip with me. Buy it brand new, see what it costs, and say, what is a grab and go of exactly what I would take? I bought thousands of dollars worth of lures, and some of them I never use. So to maybe help some of my customers and help some people out there, I said, narrowed it down to what is the most essential. And since so happens, I've got that here. For my soft plastics, I'm going to go with 3 different choices. I've got that Z-Man scented paddle tail here. It's a Slam Shady. You know, Slam Shady is known all around, and it works. I have to admit it.
Do you mind, Captain Massa? Can you bring that closer to the camera, please? Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, awesome. And then I'm going to go with the scented paddle tail. It's the Electric Chicken. It just has some nostalgia to me or something, but I love it, and I keep going back to it. So it's a paddle tail and Electric Chicken. I just like the name of it, too.
I do,
and it
too.
catches fish.
Yeah, I do.
And last but not least, I'll cycle through these 3 and see what they're chewing on. That's that new penny. And it's not a paddle tail. It's got that straight back to it, so it's a swim bait. So those are my 3 go-to soft plastics. I'm going to have those in there. And what it does for me is that when I have so many to choose from, sometimes I would get there and I go, what? And I would be going through so many different paddle tails or so many different colors and sizes that I think that it distracted me. So I've narrowed it down to say, if they're not biting on one of these 3, then I'm going to move to another bait. Right. And then I think you mentioned popping corks. And
yes.
I love this. This is a Paradise popper. You know, it's not adjustable. You can tie on whatever leader size you want and length. So I use that constantly. I also use a popper like this, the round one. You know, it's the same concept, and just sometimes I find that the color does matter. About a couple months ago, I was fishing with a friend, and we both had popping corks on, and they weren't touching his. And I believe it was the color, because same length, same everything. And as soon as he switched the color of his popping cork, it started on for him. So you have to have a couple different just in case.
Yeah.
And then here's one of my favorite. This one here is a custom made.
Ooh.
And it says Coastal Creek Charters on it. If you go to Crooked Eye, they have a shop, and they make these. It's all balsa wood. It's spun down. It's a solid piece of balsa wood, and it's spun down. And he paints them, and then you can add your logo, anything you want on there, just as a little treat that I like to give my customers. You get to take home a Coastal Creek Charters popping cork, and it works great, a weighted popping cork. So I go through these a lot. I order them by the dozens, but it's just nice to have something custom on there that is built for me.
I love it. Well, we're getting questions rolling in here. Robert Figliosi, who's one of our sponsors, do redfish in the 20-inch range have any predators besides anglers? We are predators, aren't we?
We definitely are. You know, the big thing looking for is, I know there's dolphins. Dolphins will eat a 20-inch redfish for sure, and then sharks. I hate to pay the tax collector. I've pulled up too many redfish that are half eaten by a shark. So I would say that sharks and dolphin.
Yeah.
It was probably last year I was on a little trip, and the guy says to me, he's sitting on the dock, and I know he's not wanting me to fish there. He goes, "Oh, the dolphin just came through. All the fish are run out of here." I said, "Yeah, I'm sure they have." So dolphin are definitely the predators around here that we have to watch for.
For sure. Let's see. We got another question. Stanley, I catch more sheephead when the spawn is on, it seems. I don't know if that's a question or comment, but what's your take on that?
Yeah, I believe so too. They're coming in and they're grouped up, and that's what I think really makes the big impact is they're all together, and they're doing their thing. So I think that makes a big impact that they're together and they're off of that straight vertical structure. They're not always on a pole. Mm-hmm. You can find them there, obviously, but it's just nice to be able to catch them in a little more open water, yet not be offshore.
Yeah, great tip. I think that's it as far as questions. So I see that you're set up for educational tips here. So I'm really excited about that. But one question I have about drop techniques. What are your thoughts on that?
Tell me drop techniques of finding drops or what?
Finding drops.
Yeah, okay.
Drops.
That's exactly. Yeah, we're on the same page. Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about how I find new spots. Yeah. Your last guest said something that was very important, I think, and he was saying that time on the water counts. Basically, that you got to put the time in. And I think Grant said that you go out 2 hours and you turn around, you might miss up an opportunity. So what I like to do is I really focus on a negative tide. I love a negative tide when it drops below the normal and all the water that can get out of there, gets out of there. Because what it does is opens up a picture of what our structure is on the bottom and the sides. Right. And I spend a lot of time during those negative tides just riding the banks. And I'm filming actually. I'm going to put that on my videos. That I can go back when the tide's up and say, hey, what did it look like down here? We all have our favorite spots. And when we look at them, there's a reason that fish are on there. But there's so many spots out there that look just like that spot. And we pass by them every day. The reason is because we don't know exactly when the fish are on that spot, because they might look, a drop might look great and the fish are on it here. The same looking drop, the fish might not be on it at that time. So what I do is I pick out some of these treasure holes, I call them, that people are passing by and I'm passing by a lot. And then I choose to, every trip, I'm going to try to hit that spot. If I don't catch fish or not, it's just as important until I find when the fish are on there. They're going to eventually be on that spot if it's as good as I think or it's matching where fish are. And then that's how I start to narrow it down. So when I don't catch fish on a spot, it's just as important as when I do, because then I take the whole information. I know the tide, I know the moon, I say, okay, well, they're not here now. I'm not going to just keep going there when I know they're not there. So eventually I'm going to run into those fish at that spot, and then it becomes a new drop. So putting in the time and being able to really go out there and say, I'm not going to my old reliables and I'm going to fish and I might not catch a lot, but that's okay because I'm getting valuable information about when fish aren't there. It's so important to expanding your Rolodex of spots that you can fish. So I really encourage everybody to not be afraid to go where you've never gone before, and then don't be discouraged when you don't catch fish there, because you've got a lot of valuable information from that. And you can really hone your whole game in by doing just that.
Yes, pearls of wisdom for sure. Always be a student and be open to learn no matter where you are. Even some of the most popular names in our area are students of their craft. Speak to me when you mentioned this. I went bank fishing yesterday with a really great young woman, and it was a place we've never been to before. Bank fishing is a little different. When you're doing the work, you're putting leg work in.
That's right.
And you're getting a workout, but it was a great time. We didn't get on fish, unfortunately, but the journey, we're going to go back and we're going to hit it again. So I'm looking forward to that. Awesome. We do have another question coming in by Ryan Nix. When you're fishing winter reds, do Do you fish prefer, okay, does the fish prefer ledges, mud flats, or oyster bars?
See, winter is a fickle time,
Yeah.
and you can find them on all three of those spots. I really like a sharp drop off with oysters. It's some really hard structure with a drop off that's into a hole is the recipe for success. So if you can find some deeper water when that water temperature is a little cooler, they're going to drop down there, and then like we know, all the crustaceans and shrimp and anything that's a bait fish is going to be right pressed up against that ledge. And then as the day warms up, you'll find that those redfish are coming out of those holes and then getting into that mud, because that mud changes the temperature just a few degrees. The sun gets through that water just enough and heats up the mud, and they'll slip up there for warmth. So depending on the time of day, if it's early morning, it's just cracking, the sun's just coming over the horizon and it's very cold, I'm going to find the deepest hole I can with structure. And then oysters are my favorite. Whenever I see an oyster, I just get really, really excited, because I know that it's holding some bait and the redfish are going to be shortly there behind.
Yeah, that's true. That's where we found all our reds when we were in Georgia. We have another question. We are getting some really great questions this entire show. This is exciting. So Stanley asked, what's your favorite artificial for trout in the winter months?
All right. The soft plastics go both ways. It's on how you retrieve it. If you're looking for a redfish, the retrieve is going to be a lot different than you're looking for a trout. But for artificial, I'm going to go with these three right here. I love this long. This reminds me of a bass fishing jig or swim bait. So it's a diver. It's just a long A, they call it, and it's the color of I would say, a mullet. And I throw this a whole lot. But even more than that, I throw this shorter one. It's a slow sinking mullet. I love this a lot, and I think that for trout, they love a mullet, and they go crazy over it. And then, I don't know what category. I guess it's still soft plastic. Nah, you can't go wrong with a shrimp.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
So this is just the regular DOA shrimp.
Way. Those look
The
sharp.
only little difference on this one is it has a glow in the dark tail. So when I get them deep in there, I want to believe that it's helping out. And I get a lot of strikes off this for trout, just letting it sink real slow. Nice. And then this here is my favorite thing to do. I don't always catch a lot of fish, but I throw this a lot. This is just a bomber. It's a top water. I'm going to throw this every morning. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be throwing it and seeing what's happening, because there's nothing like a top water explosion. It just gets me smiling so big, and I can't even get over it. This year I had a tarpon explode on one of these, and I can remember it as clear as day, and it still gets my heart beating hard. So I love that top water. I wish I was even better at it and threw it more, but it's a go-to for just a little bit for sure.
Awesome. Well, great questions. I think we've reached our point where we need to go question of the evening. There's so many other questions and comments, but we need to go to question of the evening. So who do you choose, Captain Massa, for question of the evening?
Well, I'm going to go with, because I've been really trying to focus my attention on soft plastics, and there was a question on what my favorite soft plastics are. And I really want to get the point across that you can really distract yourself by having too much. If you narrow down your selection, get good at those things, it's going to improve your fishing. I think that just too much sometimes scatters you. So I would go with that one.
Great. Well, congratulations, Robert. Robert's an amazing kayak angler, and he's also a YouTuber. Check him out. And Captain Massa, how do we get a hold of you when we want to schedule a fun charter with Coastal Creek Charters?
Well, you can check me out on Facebook, and then right there from Messenger. My phone number is on the screen here. You're welcome to give me a call. I respond well to text messages. So just the normal ways. I have Coastal Creek Charters net, so you're welcome to go there and check it out. I have all my pricing, everything there, and then give me a call. Email me from coastalcreekcharters@gmail.com. So all those ways, but I think that number one, if you just text me or messenger me, you're going to get a reply very shortly, because that's my major way of communication.
For sure. And he does have a very quick response rate. Also, Captain Massa has his own videos, which are really educational and fun. We've been blessed to have him as a correspondent on TFC Plus. So if you want exclusive content with Captain Massa, with his amazing tackle tips and his amazing adventures on the water, join TFC Plus on YouTube today. But also, Captain Massa has additional videos on his own Facebook and TikTok and Instagram as well. And I enjoy watching them. I learned so much, and it's uplifting too. Just the way about you is uplifting. So I enjoy it all. So definitely recommend you checking him out and following him on Facebook and all the other social media platforms as well. Any last words for us as we sign off, unfortunately, for the evening, Captain Massa?
Absolutely. I just wanted to tell you guys that I'm really excited about your electronics shows that are coming up. I'm really trying to hone in on my electronic game, and providing that content to everybody is going to be a game changer. So I'm learning so much with you, and I'm really excited about that. I think that's going to be a home run. So thank you guys.
Thank you. And Bruce says big time. Yeah, we can't sign off without saying big time. Thank you so much, Captain Massa. I hope you and your family had an amazing evening. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in to all of our regional reports, but specifically this one. Thank you so much, everybody, and have a good night and fish on. Bye-bye.
Peace. Have a great night.